I am Kat, owner of Kat's Creations and More, and today, based on a poll that I did for you guys to find out how many of you would like to learn how to make book page paper roses, I had an overwhelming response. So I am going to show you how to make these so that some of you are going to be adding them to wreaths. Others of you are going to be adding them to wedding arrangements or floral arrangements for a wedding. So I'm super excited to show this to you. So before we get started, if you'd like to save a copy of this tutorial and you're on Facebook, all you need to do is click the share button down below. That's right, I said share. Just click that share button. It'll go ahead and save this tutorial on your Facebook page where it is so much easier for you to find it. YouTube subscribers, a little bit different. All you're going to simply do is hit the save button, and that'll go ahead and save this to your, however you have it set up on YouTube, whether you have files or individual categories for your designs. That is how you will send it or save it. If you would like to get notified when I go live, two things. One is make sure that you are liking this page. That's relatively easy to do. It's the following that can sometimes be hidden. So right next to the like button, three little dots, I just did this a little while ago, you are going to click those three dots. It opens up a submenu. You want to make sure that number 2, you're following, and there might be an option for you to turn on live notifications. You want to make sure that you have both those. And a lot of times if you don't get notified, even though you've done both of those, if you open up that submenu, there's a couple options. One is default and the other is first. So if you want to be notified first, meaning when you pick up your phone or your device, you will be notified whenever there's a new update for a page that you like and follow. So whether we're going live or we have gone live, you'll get that notification. Couple things. Donna says they keep turning my notifications off. It is all of the updates that Facebook is doing, and I'm sure you guys have seen a couple of them. They're integrating with artificial intelligence or AI. So it's kind of like they're doing a bunch of different things. And so whenever you notice a lot of new changes going on to Facebook, just go do me a favor and go back in and just verify that you have your notifications turned back on. So many super fun things coming your way. We're launching into the month of July already. It's hard to believe we're in the second half of 2024. And if you're a first-time viewer finding my page today, well, welcome. I'm going to go ahead and make sure that I can read your comments because Facebook did something with my tablet, so now I have to view it a totally different way. Donna says, I don't like it. I don't like it either. I don't like any of the changes. It's like just when we think we've got it figured out, they change it. I don't know if it's, hey, this is a way of keeping you young, but I don't care for a lot of the changes that they're doing. But that's just something that we get with having a free platform, right? Nobody's paying for it, so I guess they can do what they want. I am going to pin this to the bottom for you guys. There we go. So my website is pinned down below. Let's see. Hi, Pam. Thanks for joining me. Hi, Donna. Hi, Sue. And if you guys can, do me a huge favor. If you can just share this post. If you could click the like button or the little heart button at some point during the live, that's huge. And if you could just leave a simple comment, you can tell me where you're joining me from. You can ask me a question. You can say, oh, that's interesting or whatever. All of that is such a huge help to anyone doing Facebook Lives. I don't think you realize it, but if you can do all three, that is amazing. So let me pivot you down and we're going to go over all the materials. I'm going to show you what we're making, which is basically, I'm trying to find the best one I like. We're going to be making what we call book page roses. And I know it's kind of hard to see that. The light's a little too bright. Let me tone that down a bit. There we go. So you can see that they are made with the pages from a book. And I don't have these listed on my website just yet, but if you do, sometimes people will want to purchase them just as individuals. You can sell them in bunches of 3, 6, and of course a dozen. Those are the ways that I've seen them advertised, but let's go ahead and get you down so we can go over all the supplies. So hang tight. Okay, and I think we're there. So I just have mine right now. They're all sitting in a little styrofoam container, and I've done a couple different ones. So I'm going to show you how to do these, also how to make the stems, things you can use for the stems, and all of the things. So what you want is a very sturdy book page. I had thought about doing scripture roses, but I haven't found Bible pages that are thick enough. Normally they're that real thin onion skin, and that just does not hold up very well. It doesn't have an awful lot of weight to it. So if you want to go to garage sales or yard sales and pick up just books, random books, they could just be anything. I'm going to be dividing them into 2 categories. One's going to be modern literature, and then the other is going to be classics. So like modern literature would be like books that you would find in the bookstore today. Classic literature would be like Jane Austen or poetry books and stuff like that. But there's so many different ways that you can do this. So the easiest way to do it is to create a template. And I just took one out of the lip of a cardboard box. And you'll need to make sure that it is 4 inches across by 4 inches down. You need the perfect square. If you don't get a perfect square, then when you go to fold your pages for the petals, they're not going to line up just right. You might have to cut and adjust those, but you will need 3 4x4 pieces. And so I'm going to show you how we're going to put it together. So 3 pages, a template just to make it easy. If you want to go ahead and challenge yourself, you can just get a ruler and just make the measurements on the actual book pages. You will need either a skewer or you can use a toothpick. I find the skewers are just a little bit thicker than a toothpick, and therefore they're a little bit easier. You will need hot glue because that just makes the process go so much quicker. But you could use regular Elmer's glue or tacky glue. For your stems, you could use floral wire. You could use a straw. If you're going to utilize those 2 options, you will need green floral tape. Find mine. I should have some here. The one thing I did not grab out. So just green floral tape that you can get, because then that'll camouflage your floral wire. It'll also camouflage your straw. So I think that is about it. Hi, Valerie. She says yes every time. People are complaining and leaving Facebook and doing YouTube only. Oh, trust me, I have thought about it. But let's go ahead and get started. So just make sure that your book pages are lined up evenly. I try to center my template. I don't think you can get, maybe can you get 2? No, it'll kind of come up a little bit short to do 2 at the same time. Even if we put it right on the end of the word, it's still going to give you about almost an inch of white space on the bottom. So I find it nice just to center this over a fairly beefy paragraph. I'm going to grab a pen and I'm just going to draw around my template just so that I can make sure that when I go to cut, we are even Steven. Then you're going to cut out your 4-inch squares. I find it's just easier if you always like rearrange your pages, because sometimes they move. And I just always go right to the end readjust, making sure I don't get any of that pin on there. And the last one right in there. And I'm just going to trim this bottom piece up. Okay, this stuff, toss. You're not going to need it. So here we have 3 4x4 pieces of our book page, and I try to make sure that there's words on both sides that, like, sometimes on the back side could be like the start of a new chapter, and it's got a white page, so just verify that. It looks nice, so you don't have to be particular about which side you keep up. What you're going to do is simply fold corner to corner. Just like so. Okay. And then what we're going to do is we're going to fold that again, corner to corner, just like so. And then, believe it or not, we're going to fold it one more time, just like that. Okay. Now what you will notice, and I'm going to show it up close, you will notice ones that have folded ends. These are all the folded ends. These are all the open ends. This is the fold. You are going to want to hold it right here on the corner with the folded ends up. I'm trying to make sure. Yes. And then what you're going to do is you're going to cut. Make sure. We are going to cut a rounded point so that we turn them into like little hearts. Okay. So just like that. Let me make sure I've opened this correctly. I think I did this one wrong. I did do it wrong. Okay. This is why we should renew our thing. Hang on. So don't do it that way. So 1, 2, 3. Okay. Now I know what I did wrong. Holding here, cut. So here's my fold. Here is my open edges. I actually did it the wrong way. We're going to go from here all the way around so that when you open it, you get a heart and not this. So let me show you one more time. I'm going to grab another page out of my book really quickly. We will just draw so that I have another. I actually grabbed a couple in case I did that again. Okay. Really super simple. There's 1. There's 2. 3. Last one. You need the 3. Okay, which is why I had to redo that one. So, corner to corner. Trying to make sure I get them right on the corner. Fold again. And then fold again. Okay, so making sure, here's our folded ends, right? These are the folded sides. This is the solid crease. These are the open. Hold it with it at the bottom. And then you're going to go from here. You're going to round that corner. And you're going to turn it into little hearts. Okay. Last one. Corner to corner. Whoop. I always like to keep my pages bent until I get them lined up. So we get a solid crease. Corner to corner. See, right now these are all open ends. Oop. Make sure that's all inside. So again, this is where I have it folded. These are all the open pages. So here's open. These are all the folded ends. Open pages. This is the solid. I'm going to put my thumb at the bottom. And then I'm going to cut the corner just like this. and all the way around. So we won't need those. Okay. Now you're going to want to open those up. Oop, wait, before we do that, sorry. Before we do that, we're going to actually cut off the bottoms about 1/4 inch. So we're going to cut the little bottoms of our corners off because we need the center of our rose. So just like this. Now we can open them because now they should look like little flowers. Just like that. There we go. And here is the last one. Okay, so 3 separate flowers. Okay, on the first flower, we are going to cut out one petal. So I'm just going to remove 1 petal from the bunch. Okay, so from this, we had 1. From the other one, we're going to cut out 2. So just like this. Just like that. So we went from here to 2. And from here, we are actually going to cut out 3 petals from here. So there's 1. And I'm going to go right here. It doesn't matter which ones you grab. You just want a 1, a 2, a 3. Then this will be a 4. That'll be a 5 and a 6 once we're done. So from here, super simple. This is where we get our glue involved. So I have my hot glue gun. It's all ready. Let's put another glue stick in so we don't run out. Actually, we don't need to. So on the one that has 6, we are going to just overlap those. Okay. So whichever way you want to do it, just some hot glue and go ahead and overlap. Okay. So that was our 1. This one, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to overlap a petal. So a petal to a petal, just like that. So you can see we're starting to form the little cups for our roses. And then obviously on the 4th one, we are going to line those up. Okay, so we have ever small, and then believe it or not, with the 3, we're going to take that and turn that into a very small one. So I like to just do this like right on the edge. So we're going to place that right on the edge. Make sure we get it sealed all the way down to the bottom. So as you can see, just adding a little bit more to that one. You can see the progression of what we're building. So from here, what we want to do is from here, this is where our skewer comes into play. We need to, we have to build these last 2 pieces, which is just, I find it easier if you can kind of just take your skewer like this, and you kind of want to form a tiny little center for a rose petal. So I'm just going to lay this in right here so that when I get that, it's going to, trying to get this rolled just ever so slightly. We want it kind of like in a little cone shape, just like that. And I'm going to take this little bit and we're going to go ahead and seal the edge. Okay, so that we have our first one built, and then obviously with this one, we're going to do the same thing. Let's get this built around. We've got to get it in the shape so it rolls pretty easy, but we just don't want it to be just a generic roll. We want it to actually be a roll that's a little bit cone shaped, kind of like that. So not overly not just rolled up on the ankle. I have a big blob of glue, so if I can get this off with the little skewer. So that when I go to close that, so basically we have a 1, a 2, a 3, 1, 2, 3. We have our 4. I'm trying to get all the glue threads to stop clinging on everything. A 5 and a 6. And so that is the exact way we're going to put it together. But before we do that, because it makes it so much easier to do, is you are going to just take the ends of your petals, and we're doing it to the outside. We're just going to roll these. Depends on how tight you like them. These are going to give us the shape of our roses. So just kind of roll them around your skewer so that they're not just laying flat. I'm going to try to tuck them in just like so. So we're rolling. Again, roll. So that they're, you know, they kind of look like rose leaves. You can kind of come back in after that and just kind of roll them a little bit. The one that will be the more challenging one to do will be the one that you glued the end on. So we're going to do this on all the pieces because it's easier to do it now before we've rolled it than to do it afterwards. So just roll your tips. Again, you can roll them tight, you can roll them loosely. It's entirely up to you. But it just looks better if you put the curls in the leaves before you assemble them. And we're going to do it on all the ones except what I would call 1 and 2. So just the ones that have the little curls. Like these two we can't really do, but we can definitely do the others. Okay, there's that one. And then we're going to do the last one. I'd like to kind of make this one a little bit more round, even though it still has its petals. Okay, so now we are going to assemble and glue them together. So we're going to take number, this is 5, right? Or 6. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. So we're going to take 5 and glue it inside number 6. And I find, don't line up your petals so that they're even, kind of put them off the side a little bit. And I found that if I just glued on this end, on the one that's getting glued on the inside, it was much easier to manage. And then you just do it from the bottom. Just kind of walk your fingers all the way around till everything is glued. Okay. There's that funky little piece. Okay, so we've got 5 into 6. Now we're going to do 4 into 5, same way. Okay, again, try to offset your petals to where they're a little bit on the off side, and just, you know, go around the bottom, put your thumb in the center, and just kind of walk them all the way through so that that adheres. The one thing that I want you to notice is that there is a hole in the bottom of my rose. So we need a hole. That's why we cut the tips off. Okay. Now, before we do 3 into here, we're going to do 1 into 2. So this is going to create the center of our rose, which is why we needed 1 to go right in the center of the other. So same thing. Just put some glue down there. Slide 1 right into number 2. Just like that. And then we're going to take this and glue this into the center. And we're actually going to push this end all the way through. So this is actually going to sit down inside a little bit further. So I want my glue, therefore, on the petals to sit up a little higher. Okay, so we're going to push this one down, and we're going to push it out the bottom, just like so. Okay, so now we have the center of our rose. And now I'm sure you guys can figure out, we're going to take this one and we're going to plop this one right in the center, which will give us our beautiful paper rose. So before it's glued, this is what it's looking like. Trying to get that light to go away. This is what it looks like. We have our center. This is our center piece. Okay. We are going to do the same thing. I'm going to kind of glue this a little bit around where we attached the other. We're going to drop that right on the inside. And you can just go ahead and maneuver your rose pieces around, making sure that they're all stable at the bottom. Okay, so there is your little rose in a nutshell. Okay, and you can sit here and do a ton of these. They look really good. Some people said, oh, imagine if you colored the paper. So yes, you can stain or whitewash the paper and give them a like watercolor effect, and then go ahead and assemble them, but do both sides of the paper, because you never know which ones will be side up as you're gluing them. And then to attach a stem, I use, remember all those foam floral roses that I had all those leftover stems? So I have, it's just a floral wire that's covered in green floral. But if I was to just simply drop this inside like this, it's just going to come out the bottom, just like that. So we've got to create a resistance point so that won't go all the way through. So I grab needle nose pliers and I just create a little bend in there, kind of like a little stopper. Then we go ahead and slide that right down on the inside. And now our rose will not come out of the bottom. What I have suggested in the past is if you want to get really creative, you could make book page leaves and then just kind of tag that around. What we did with that is some of that leftover paper on the thing. You can just kind of do that in a very large petal shape for your rose. And that's just kind of a freehand thing. I'm going to cut the bottom off. And then same thing, you're going to bend the tips of your flower, because our roses would not, or the leaves would not just be static and flat. Same thing here. And then we're going to fold them in half, just like this. And then we can even bend the tip. And then from here, of course, that is like way too long, but let's just cut that down. This would go right on the bottom of your book page. Made this one a little too big. Okay, just like that. Tuck that down. I would just glue the bottoms right here and then roll that up on your rose. Just like that. I'm just trying to get the other part in and around. And then we need to get the other end down here so it'll stay at the bottom. There we go. And then just play with how you want that formed to roll through your flower. And then you have, there we go, our flower with our rose. So that is one option you have. Let's create another one really quick, and I'll show you the option using the whatchamacallit. Let's tear these all at the same time, using a straw to hold that. Now with a straw, you're going to need a little bit bigger base, but you can turn these into fun pins. Like I said, these would be great at a wedding if you were doing poetry roses. You could do them from classic poems. So again, 3 4x4 inches of paper. You could take somebody's favorite book and repurpose their books. This would be great for like book club members. Maybe it was their favorite book. They absolutely love that book. And you can just make them a keepsake of, you know, that month's book read or whatever you've done. Let's go ahead and square that up. Okay. Off. Again, really simple, quick. We can do these really fast now. Corner to corner. You're going to fold it 3 times. Right up here. We are going to open edge, folded side. We are holding the bottom. We are going to round the corner all the way. So we have little hearts. Do the same for the second one. Fold again. We're holding, here's the fold, here's the open, we're holding here, going around, meant to grab that one, grab this other one, fold, fold, fold again. Hold the point. Here's our folded edge. We're going around the corner. And you really have to exaggerate your corners. Otherwise, when you go to glue them, and I forgot to cut the points off. So cut the points. Okay. Points are cut off. So we just cut the ends off. So remember, when we open them, they look like little flowers with the holes in the center. Just like that. For 1, 2, and 3, we're cutting out 1 petal. Okay, this one we're cutting out 2. Okay, so 1, 2. This one we're cutting out 3. Okay, it doesn't matter which one you do. If you want to do your thinnest roll, you can do that one first. So you get them in like that little cone shape. But like I said, we want a cone and not... I find the hardest one to do, believe it or not, is the first one. Because we need it like a cone and not just folded pieces of paper. So I've got it there. Okay, so there's our one. We're folding our second one. So always to the center. Just trying to get the paper to roll. So that once you got it rolling, then you can kind of play with it a little bit. Get it kind of like in a cone shape. That one went together really well. But I needed it a little tighter on the curl. So if we can pull this one apart and get it a little bit tighter. Okay, so now we've got 1, 2, obviously that made it a lot bigger. And then we're going to glue the 1 petal. We're going to overlap. And then we're overlapping here. Bring this back around. We've got the overlap. It's always the glue threads. Overlap here. And then we overlap number 3. That was more of a cone as well. And then, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Remember, we take the end of our skewer or toothpick and you just roll your petals so that we give them shape. Just like this. It's always going to be the hardest doing the one that's folded over, but for some reason the one that looks folded over just looks better. And I always just take the time and just kind of hand curl those a bit. Same thing here. Just roll them over. Here's that doubled one. And last one. It's also a really good gift for a book lover. Anyone who loves to read, a librarian, a teacher. I'm trying to think. Who else? Debbie says, hello, this is very interesting. Sorry, I'm late. No worries, Debbie. We're able to do 2. So hopefully you're catching this one too. Okay. As you can see, I've really emphasized it on those last ones. Then we're going to take the one that's really only like a 2 and try to curl that one as best as we can. And we've got the overlap, which is just almost a possibility. Okay. But sometimes it's just easier, once you get the curl in there, just to kind of take your edge and just roll them with your hand. So, super simple. We're taking 5, 5 goes into 4, and I just find it's easier to just glue in here. And remember, we want our petals to overlap so we don't go petal to petal. And we just kind of pull that down and just glue that all the way around. Okay, we've got that into that one. We're going to do the same thing for this one. Okay, again, make sure we've got them a little bit off center. This is where those folds come into play really well. But we just want to make sure that we're tacking those ends. Okay, then we have 1 goes into 2, just like so. So let's get 1. I'm actually just going to hold this with my needle nose because it'll be easier for me to plop that right as I drop it. We're going to slide that one right into the inside. If we want, we can kind of pull this back a bit, but not necessary. We're going to do the same, but a little bit further up. We're going to slide this into cone number 3. And remember, we push it down so that it comes out the bottom. Okay, we need that to come out the bottom. Just like that. And now we're going to take this, slide the whole thing into this, and we want to see that little point come all the way through. So just a little ways further up just is a better place to glue it. We're going to take and push that to where it is centered into our rose. And once again, we have the perfect paper rose. Now, this is where you're like, okay, well, it's great. I don't have floral wire and I don't have all that fancy stuff. You could take a skewer if your skewer was small enough and you had, even if your point is a little too narrow, you can always go back down and cut this out so that your skewer will fit all the way through. If you were doing the straw technique, here's my straw. It's a little thick straw. What you're going to do is your straw is actually going to sit, you're going to put your paper rose into the straw tip like that. So we're going to glue that in. So I'm going to glue the bottom. Now my glue needs to be replaced. So we're going to glue that right in so it won't come out of the straw. You can also do this with a ballpoint pen. And we're just going to center that right on our straw. I know it looks funky right now because it's like, oh, it's just a straw with a rose. But this is where you come in with your green floral tape, which you could get at Hobby Lobby, Joann's, Michael's, Walmart, wherever you can actually get floral tape. And then remember, floral tape isn't sticky until you stretch it. Once you stretch it, you activate the sticky. And then you want to come up a little high on your rose so that we can, you know, gain the base. And then you're just going to slide that all the way down the bottom. I'm like holding this at a slight angle so that it's just barely overlapping each other until they come all the way down. You can use thinner straws. For whatever reason, these were the only straws I had, or the little bit bigger straws. Don't use bendy straws because they're a little too soft. They just won't work. And then once again, stretch. I'm just going to stretch that. And I'm going to bring that back up on the top. And then we are good to go there. And so you have your bendy straw. And you can opt to go larger if you want larger ones. You could do a 5-inch square, you could do a 6-inch square, it doesn't matter. I just find that these ones are a little bit closer to what an actual rose would kind of look like. That's just my take on it. Obviously my foam is really thick, so for my straw to fit in there, I have to get them a little, bring them in a little bit further, but you could definitely make an entire bouquet. If you were doing a classic romantic wedding, you could make bouquets of these to put on centerpieces for your table. I just use them that way so that I can hold them. If you wanted to do something really, really pretty, you could. I sent this to my private group. We could take tissue paper if this is how you want to sell them. Let's move this out of the way, along with all of these, because my tissue paper is quite long. If we wanted to do a couple of them, you could do them, like I said, in quantities of 3. You could do them in quantities of 2. Let me use the ones with no leaves on them because they wrap better. Just like that, a nice trio. Whoop. Just push these ones back in there so they stay. Here's your trio of 3. I just find that if we roll from the ends this way, it just looks nicer. I'm trying to get these to roll. Maybe I'll just do them like that. It's kind of weird to do it with diagonal paper. Let's see if we can bring this one down. Not liking the way that looks. Let's just do it. I think we did it this way last time. We did. Trying to get those to lay correctly. Something like this, and then you could just add a super cute little like a regular ribbon to add to those, and that's how the way I would ship if I was presenting. Obviously, definitely take the end off of this cute little ribbon, and then obviously you can present like I said, you can do them in 1s, 3s, 6, and 12s is my suggested way of selling them. Or for those of you guys that are doing them on a craft fair, you could have them sitting in a nice little jar, and you can allow people to pick out however many they want, 1, 3, you know, 5, whatever, and then you can do a nice little presentation for them, add a cute little bow, and then off they go. What do you guys think? Carol says, I rarely see your videos. Not getting notification. Is there something I should do? So yes, Carol, make sure that you have liked my page, Cats Creations Race, and then also right next to the like button, there are 3 little dots. Click on those 3 little dots. It should open up a sub menu. Make sure that you've clicked on following, and then make sure that your following says first, so that you're notified whenever you happen to pick up your device that I'm going live. Because every single time that Facebook does an update, it resets everything back to the way that it was before we made any sort of selections on anything. So what do you guys think? Oh, awesome. Sue says, very creative. Linda says, beautiful. You're so creative. Debbie says, I got Debbie's, that she showed up a little bit late. So if you guys can do me a favor, just do me a quick, give me a little thumbs up if you like this, a little heart if you love this idea. Let's do, what else can we do if you really, really like this? Comment. Just comment and say, love the design. That would be it. If you want to save this tutorial, just click the share button. It'll share this right to your Facebook page. And you're off and going with your paper roses. So like I said, you can do them classic, you can do them modern literature, and let people decide whichever one that they will be. You can still read all the lettering on here. Thank you, Arlene. She said, love it. All right. Well, thank you guys for joining me. We will not be here on Thursday. It is the 4th of July. I hope you guys have an amazing holiday, that you spend it with your family and friends doing something fun. And I will talk to you guys next week. You're welcome, Sue. Thank you so much for joining me. All right, everyone. Talk to you soon. Bye for now.